There comes a morning, perhaps this morning, when the silence feels louder than peace, and the light creeping through your window doesn't quite reach the corners of your heart. When your hands tremble not because you are weak, but because life has asked you to carry far more than you thought you could bear, on such a morning there is only one truth that can wrap itself around your soul like a warm blanket and remind you that you are not alone. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Let those words settle in your chest, not just as poetry, not just as scripture, but as the very breath that keeps you standing. Psalm 23 is not a verse we recite to sound holy. It is a declaration, a quiet but unwavering anthem against fear, a reminder that even when the world demands everything from us, God provides everything we need, because what is a shepherd? A shepherd is the one who never leaves. The one who walks behind you when you are strong, beside you when you are uncertain, and in front of you when you are too afraid to move forward. A shepherd doesn't raise their voice in panic. A shepherd doesn't flee when wolves appear. A shepherd is calm, still, watchful, and strong. That is your God. So when the fear comes, and it will, you must answer it not with your emotions, not with your anxiety, but with the stillness of trust. The Lord is my shepherd, not just theirs, not just in the past, now, here, in this mess, in this brokenness, in this hour of need, He is mine, and because of that, fear has no rightful place here. There are mornings when fear wakes up before you do. Before your eyes even open, it's already whispering in the silence, whispering about your failures, about the bills unpaid, about the prayers unanswered, about the people who left. Fear knows how to find the cracks in your confidence. It doesn't knock. It walks straight in, sits at your table, and tells you that you are not enough. It tells you the darkness will win this time. It tells you to give up before you even try. And in those quiet, brutal moments, it's tempting to believe it. Because fear sounds like truth when you're exhausted. But fear is not truth. It is volume without substance, a shadow pretending to be a wall, a lie that's just loud enough to drown out your hope, if you let it. That's why you must choose faith, not because it's easy, but because it's louder. Louder doesn't mean shouting over your anxiety. It doesn't mean pretending everything's okay. Louder means rooted. Louder means immovable. Louder means refusing to bow to the noise inside your head. Faith doesn't scream, it stands. While fear rants and rages, faith is steady. While fear rushes to conclusions, faith waits in trust. Fear says, you won't make it. Faith answers, even if I'm crawling, I'm still moving. Fear says, look how much you've lost. A faith replies, watch what God will restore. Fear points to the storm. Faith looks to the shepherd. It's not that faith doesn't hear fear. It just refuses to agree with it. That's what makes faith louder. It speaks back. It fights back, not with emotion, but with truth, not with panic, but with peace. Fear wants you to panic. Fear wants you to think you're surrounded, that you're trapped, that you're finished. But faith walks into the same battlefield and says, I've seen worse, and I'm still standing. Fear is reactive. Faith is proactive. Fear needs instant answers. Faith holds on even when there are none. When your job is uncertain, when your health is fragile, when your relationships are breaking, when the silence of heaven feels like a no, faith stands up and declares, I still believe. And that declaration, even in a whisper, silences fear more powerfully than the loudest scream. You won't always feel brave. Some mornings, faith will look like getting out of bed even though your soul is tired. Some days, it will be praying through tears and trusting through silence. Some moments, it will be holding on when your hands feel too weak. But that's still faith. Real faith isn't the absence of fear, it's choosing to keep going anyway. It's saying, I know who walks with me. Psalm 23 doesn't ignore the valley, it acknowledges it. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, that's not denial. That's awareness, but it's also defiance. It says, I see the shadow, I feel the fear, but I'm walking anyway because I'm not walking alone. That's the power of faith. It knows the shepherd is present even when the valley is dark. It believes that goodness is still chasing you even when you feel lost. It trusts that restoration is still possible even when everything looks broken. And that kind of faith will always speak louder than fear. Not with noise, but with endurance. Not with bluster, but with resilience. You've survived things you never thought you would. You've cried through nights that felt unbearable. You've been betrayed, abandoned, overlooked. And yet, here you are. That alone is proof that fear didn't win. It might have slowed you down, it might have wounded you, but it didn't stop you. You're still walking. That's what makes you strong. Not that you were never afraid, but that you didn't let fear make your decisions. Because the truth is, fear can't stop God. It can only distract you from Him. Fear can't rewrite your story. It can only make you doubt the next chapter. But faith keeps your eyes fixed on the author. The one who already knows the ending, the one who turns valleys into altars, the one who speaks peace into chaos and brings light out of shadows. That doesn't mean fear won't try again. It will. It's persistent. It will come in the form of bad news, sudden change, unexpected delays. It will whisper in the waiting, but faith has an answer for every lie. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. That's not just poetry. That's war language. That's armor for your mind. That's a promise you wear like a shield. When fear says, you're on your own, faith responds, He is with me. And with Him I have all I need, peace when my heart wants to panic. Strength when my body is weak, wisdom when my mind is clouded, protection when I feel vulnerable. He walks with me. Not just in sanctuaries, but in storms, not just on mountaintops, but in midnight hours. His presence is louder than fear. His voice steadies the shaking. His rod and His staff, they don't just guide, they comfort. They say, keep walking, I've got you. So this morning, choose to believe that. Not because you feel brave, but because He is faithful. Not because everything makes sense, but because His presence makes the difference. Let fear scream if it wants. Let it make noise, but don't let it make decisions. Your faith is the anchor, your shepherd is near, and your future is still full of promise, because even when fear is loud, faith will always be louder when you dare to trust the one who never leaves. There is a kind of valley in life that doesn't show up on any map. You won't find it in travel guides or hear stories of it in everyday conversation, but almost everyone will walk through it at some point. It's the valley of heartbreak, the valley of confusion, the valley of loss. It's that stretch of life where the air feels heavy, the path looks uncertain, and your heart can't seem to remember what peace ever felt like. The thing about valleys is, they feel endless when you're in them. Time slows down, every day feels like the last, and hope starts to fade, not because it's not real, but because pain speaks louder in the shadows. That's when fear starts lying to you. It says, this is where it ends. You'll never climb out. You'll never feel joy again. This is who you are now, broken, forgotten, alone. But Psalm 23 whispers a truth that dismantles every one of those lies in just a few words. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, read it again, walk through, not live in, not be buried by. Not be defined by, walk through. That means this is temporary. That means it won't always be this way. That means the valley may be your current location, but it is not your final destination. You are just passing through. And yes, it's hard. Yes, the silence hurts. Yes, you feel like your prayers are hitting a ceiling, but valleys are not evidence that God is absent. They are often the very place He reveals Himself most deeply. Not in lightning, not in thunder, but in the quiet strength that keeps you walking when you could have collapsed, in the grace that shows up day after day, even when you don't know how you're still breathing. In the moments you should have given up, but didn't, the valley doesn't mean you're failing, it means you're growing. Deep roots aren't made in shallow places. Strength isn't built on mountain tops. It's formed in the low places, in the tears you cry in secret, in the moments you choose to trust when nothing around you makes sense, in the times you stand back up even when everything in you wants to stay down. These are the sacred steps of a soul being shaped by the shepherd. You might not see the progress, but God does. Every tear you've cried, counted, every sigh heard, every ache you can't put into words, felt, and even though it feels like no one understands, you are not alone. The shepherd walks with you, not just in front of you, not just behind you, but with you, step by step, moment by moment. Even though the valley is real, so is his presence. Even though the shadow is dark, the light is still shining somewhere ahead. That's the hard part of faith, trusting what you cannot yet see, holding on to the promise when the pain screams louder. But don't stop walking. Don't sit down and give up in a place you were only meant to pass through. The valley is not a punishment, it's preparation. It's not the end of your story, it's the middle. It's the refining place where faith becomes more than words and turns into something unshakable. Something eternal, something strong enough to stand even when everything else falls apart. You may not understand this chapter now, but one day you'll look back and see what it built inside of you. The valley taught you things the mountaintop never could. It taught you that your strength was not in your circumstances, but in your shepherd. That peace is not the absence of struggle, but the presence of God in the struggle. That real joy is not about everything being right, but about knowing you're never abandoned. And the valley of the shadow of death, it's just that, a shadow. Shadows may look terrifying, but they cannot harm you. A shadow can't touch you. It only exists because there's light behind it. That means even in your darkest place, light still exists. Hope still exists, a future still exists. Sometimes the shepherd doesn't remove the valley, sometimes he simply walks with you through it, not because he's cruel, but because he knows what it's building in you. He knows the other side of the valley holds something your heart can't yet imagine, restoration, strength, a testimony, a peace that you'll carry with you for the rest of your life. But for now, in this valley, you keep walking. Slowly, quietly, prayerfully, some days with faith, some days with just breathe, but still walking, and with every step you're getting stronger, every step you're getting closer, every step you're reminding the valley that it does not win. It does not hold you, it does not break you, you're just passing through, and even though it doesn't feel like it, this valley has an exit. You will not live in this sadness forever. You will not cry this way for the rest of your life. You will not feel numb every morning. There is still healing for you. There is still joy for you. There is still purpose, still beauty, still laughter that hasn't yet returned. But it will. Keep walking, even when you feel like crawling. Keep trusting even when you can't trace his hand. Keep breathing even when your chest is heavy, because the shepherd is still with you, and he is not in a hurry. He walks with patience, with mercy, with tenderness, matching your pace, holding your heart. This valley may be long, it may be silent, it may be darker than anything you've faced before, but it is not forever. You're just passing through. There's something sacred about a table. It's where we gather, where we feed our bodies and sometimes unknowingly feed our souls. It's where family meets, where prayers are whispered, where laughter lives and wounds find a voice. But the table God prepares for you, it's different. It's not just a place of comfort, it's a declaration. A table set not in a peaceful meadow, not on a mountain after the battle is over, but right in the middle of it all. In the presence of your enemies, in the middle of your trouble, while the storm still rages, the shepherd lays out a feast. That doesn't make sense to us. We want the enemies gone first. We want the struggle to end before the blessings come. We want the peace without the pressure, the breakthrough without the battle. But Psalm 23 reveals a different kind of promise, one that says God is not waiting for your life to become calm before he blesses you. He's not waiting for every critic to fall silent or every fear to disappear. He sets the table right there in the presence of it all. Think about that. He prepares a table before you, not for your enemies, not for your past, for you, and he does it in their presence, because sometimes God doesn't remove the pain. He just outshines it. Sometimes he doesn't silence your accusers. He just blesses you louder. Sometimes he doesn't shut the mouths of the lions. He just shuts them down with his favor. This table isn't small. It's not rushed. He's not tossing crumbs your way and hoping you'll make do. He's preparing it. That means he's taking his time. That means it's intentional. That means what he's giving you is specific to you, custom, built for your healing, your restoration, your journey. While others may be watching, it's not for them. It's for you, for your soul, for your comeback, for your reminder that God never stopped seeing you. And maybe that's the real miracle. Not that the enemies disappear, but that they can't stop the shepherd from blessing you. They may hate you, but they can't block what God has already written. They may mock you, but they cannot erase the oil he's poured over your life. They may try to tear you down, but they can't sit at the table that was never set for them. Because the table isn't about them, it's about him and his love for you. You might be walking through betrayal right now, maybe rejection, maybe whispers behind your back, maybe circumstances that look like failure. And you're thinking, why now, God? Why this? And God says, because it's in the middle of this that I show you who I really am. I'm not just the God who shows up when things are perfect. I'm the God who sets a table when things fall apart. And here's what happens at that table. You don't just eat, you're restored, you're reminded, you're healed, you're given peace that makes no sense. You're filled with a confidence that doesn't come from applause, but from presence. You're strengthened not by answers, but by assurance that God is still with you, still for you, still blessing you in full view of everything that tried to destroy you. This table says you are not what they called you. You are not what they did to you. You are not what the world tried to label you. You are chosen, you are called, you are covered, you are anointed, and the oil on your head is not for show, it's for purpose. It's for battle, it's for identity, it's the mark that says, this one is mine. God doesn't avoid your pain, he sits with you in it. He doesn't dodge your wounds, he anoints them. He doesn't skip the conflict, he conquers it without lifting a sword. He shows you what true victory looks like, not revenge, not retaliation, but peace in the middle of chaos, joy in the middle of mourning, strength while you're still bleeding. That's the power of the table. So when you look around and all you see is trouble, don't panic. Don't question your worth. Don't doubt your future. Look for the table. Look for the evidence that God hasn't forgotten you. It might not look like what you prayed for. It might not come in the timing you hoped for, but it will be there in his way, in his time, right in the middle of your mess. You don't have to wait for the storm to pass to be blessed. You don't have to clean yourself up to be worthy. You don't have to prove anything to anyone to be seated at the table. You just have to sit, to receive, to believe that the shepherd knows exactly what you need and when you need it. Because when he prepares a table, he's not just feeding you. He's making a statement that says, this child is mine, and nothing, no pain, no betrayal, no failure can cancel that. The shepherd does not serve scraps, he serves glory, right in the presence of what was meant to break you. So today, instead of running from your trouble, look it in the eye, and then sit down at the table. Let your enemies watch while you eat in peace. Let the lies fall silent as truth surrounds you. Let the pain take a backseat while grace is poured into every empty space. Let the fear shrink while your cup overflows. This is your table, and it's already been prepared. When you wake up in the morning and everything inside you feels tired before the day even begins, that's when grace speaks first. It doesn't wait for you to get it right. It doesn't require a smile. It doesn't demand strength. It simply shows up, quiet, constant, steady, not to judge, not to weigh you down, but to carry what you can. Grace walks with you before your feet ever hit the floor, and it doesn't leave even when you want to, because grace is not a reward for the perfect. It's a gift for the broken. It's not something you earn by praying more or failing less. It's something you receive because your shepherd knows how heavy life is, how hard it is to carry silent pain, to wear a brave face while your heart is breaking, to keep walking when you feel like collapsing. Grace is for that, for the in-between places, for the not yet healed, for the still, struggling still, learning still, believing kind of people, people like you. Psalm 23 doesn't end with struggle. It ends with a promise. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Mercy, that's grace in motion. That's God saying, I've got your back. Not just today, but every day. Grace doesn't take a day off. It walks behind you when you're running ahead, and beside you when you're too tired to move. It doesn't flinch at your mistakes. It doesn't withdraw when you fall. It reaches down, lifts you up, and says, we're still going. There's something holy about knowing that even on your worst day, God is not distant. That His grace didn't show up only when you were doing well, but has been walking with you even in the dark seasons, especially in the dark seasons, when you didn't know what to say, when your prayers were just tears. When your faith felt too weak to stand, grace stood for you. Grace covered what you couldn't. Grace never left your side. You're not walking this path because you've figured everything out. You're walking because grace is holding you up. Every time you wanted to give up and didn't, grace. Every time you forgave when bitterness seemed easier, grace. Every time you trusted again, even with a trembling heart, grace. You didn't make it this far by accident. You were carried, not always visibly, not always dramatically, but always faithfully. And here's what you must remember. Grace doesn't just forgive your past. It equips your present. It empowers your today. It reminds you that you are not who you were, and you are not defined by what happened to you. You are still becoming, still growing, still walking, and grace is still with you. You don't have to chase it. You don't have to beg for it. It's already yours. Mercy follows you not just on Sundays, not just when you feel holy. It follows you in traffic, in heartbreak, in depression, in confusion, in relapse, in rebuilding, in moments of shame, and in moments of triumph. God's grace isn't seasonal, it's not conditional, it's covenant. That means it stays. It doesn't flee when the storm comes. It walks with you through it. It's not intimidated by your fears. It's not frustrated by your pace. Grace is patient because the shepherd is patient, and because of that, you don't have to perform. You don't have to prove your worth every morning. You don't have to wake up and fight to be enough. You already are. You are enough for today, and grace is enough for everything you can't control. That means you can breathe. That means you can face the day without fear. That means you can be gentle with yourself, even when the world is not. There will be days when you don't feel it, when you think, God, where are you? But feelings aren't always facts. Just because you can't see the shepherd doesn't mean he's not leading. Just because you don't feel grace doesn't mean it's not surrounding you. God's presence is not based on your perception. His grace does not expire when your emotions fluctuate. It walks with you regardless. Even now, grace is filling the gaps where your strength has run out. Grace is holding the pieces of your heart that haven't healed. Grace is working in silence, stitching together something beautiful from all the things you thought disqualified you. That's what makes it grace. It chooses you even when you don't choose yourself. And one day, you'll look back on the path behind you and see it clearly. Grace walked with me here, through this grief, through this anxiety. Through this season I didn't think I'd survive. You'll see that it wasn't your willpower that got you through. It was divine love walking step by step with you the entire way, and it never left, so let that be your peace today. Not that the world will be easy, not that all your questions will be answered, but that grace is already walking this path with you. that mercy is not waiting at the finish line, it's with you in every mile. That you are not alone, not for 1 second. Surely, goodness and mercy are following you, and they are not walking away anytime soon. So now, as this morning begins, and life starts pulling you in every direction again, pause. Breathe, remember this, you are not alone, you are not walking through chaos without a compass. The shepherd is still leading. The same God who watched over you through the long nights is the same God who walks with you into this day. He is not uncertain, he is not far away, he is here with you, for you, always. Let fear try, let it whisper its lies and threats, let it parade your past mistakes, your future unknowns, your current weakness. Let fear shout if it must, but you don't have to bow to it, not anymore, because where the Lord is your shepherd, fear has no place, worry has no throne, anxiety has no dominion. It can knock, but it cannot enter. You are covered, you are claimed, you are carried. Even if today feels uncertain, you are not without purpose. Even if the path ahead seems dim, you are not walking blind. Even if your soul still aches, you are not forgotten. You have not been left behind. What God has spoken over your life still stands. What He promised you still waits on the other side of this storm. You just keep walking, even slowly, even painfully, even if all you can do is take the next breath. Grace will meet you there. Because He restores, He anoints, He leads, He walks through the valley with you. That's the power of Psalm 23. It's not a poem of perfect circumstances, it's a declaration of perfect presence. It says, even though I walk through the valley, not because life will avoid suffering, but because even in suffering, we are not abandoned, we are not unguarded. The shepherd defends, the shepherd prepares, the shepherd stays. So keep your eyes on Him, not on the shadow. Keep your heart steady in the silence. Even now, He's preparing a table for you in the presence of everything that tried to destroy you. And one day, you will sit there stronger, freer, more alive than you've ever been, and you'll realize that every tear, every valley, every unanswered prayer led you right to the grace that carried you. The world may be loud, the fear may come fast, but you are not defenseless. You are held, you are heard, you are healed one moment at a time, and this morning the shepherd walks again, with you, beside you, ahead of you. So rise with courage, face the day with stillness in your soul. There is no need to fear, not now, not ever. The Lord is your shepherd, and He has never left you, and thanks for watching.